order the Wednesday, August 5th, 2026 Select Board meeting. Let's all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, before we jump into Ron, I'm just gonna make a quick statement. I just wanna congratulate Bridgton PD, Public Works, Fire Department, and everybody for the National Night Out last night that we had here in town. It's an event that's held the first Tuesday of August of every year. We had a great turnout of citizens coming down. They got to experience a lot of different things with the PD, the Fire Department, Public Works, all of that. So I just wanna congratulate them for a very good night and some burgers and hot dogs.
That was an excellent event,
It was.
and our chair was the DJ as usual.
All right, item number 3, update from Ron Smith.
Can I first just say that when I came here, I was appointed 14 months ago. Obviously, I had a learning curve, and one of those learning curves was to get involved in something that I've never heard of in my life. We have economic opportunities in New York State, for example, under different names, but I never knew what the heck a TIF was. I didn't even know I'd ever know anything about TIFs. And as far as I'm concerned, the guy who taught me the most is standing right here. And it's all about, hopefully, financial support for us in the future as a town of Bridgton. And he's going to go through so many things here that will get us to the point where we can have access to that money eventually. And that's why he's here, and I thank you for coming, my friend.
Appreciate it. So, and to just kind of like start this, I understand there's a couple of new board members, so I'm looking forward to going back to the last time that I was here,
Okay.
talking about this very matter, trying to Englishize it, for lack of a better way to say it. 'Cause it's
Good
tough.
way to
It's
put
tough to really kind of put this whole journey of TIF, which is tax incremental financing district, in a way that you can understand it. So I tried to do that and put it into English for you all and come back as I said I would. It's taken me a little longer to get here, but along the way, we've had a lot of conversations, with all the people that we needed to have the conversations to really set the table to move this thing forward. So I expect that will happen, and here's really the start of it right now. So to talk about the evolution of this journey, some time ago, and I sent an email back, I believe, in 2008, okay, this TIF district was birthed, okay? And it had a shelf life of about, I think it was 25 years,
yeah.
was your TIF district. And that shelf life will expire, 5 years, okay? So the TIF district, when it was birthed, had an intention of development of Route 302 with about $1.9 million worth of project costs that I put all in your application that was approved by the Department of Economic and Community, approved by the town, and then by the Department of Economic and Community Development to go ahead with this expansion. So those $1.9 million projects in this TIF, Route 302, was how you were known by to everybody, including the state of Maine, okay? So come along. I wasn't here then. None of us were here probably then, so, and even through then, up till about probably 7 or 8 years ago when you actually started that expansion project, what didn't happen is the expansion project that we know it now as the Route 302 TIF expansion, which you incurred about $24 million worth of debt to USDA, EPA, a bunch of other people to put that development down there, to put affordable housing down there, and pave the way to bring in more commercial growth into your town and really enhance Main Street, really is what it is, redevelop Main Street down there, with that vision. For some reason, don't know why, and none of the authors are here today to really discuss it with, and the state has really no record of it either, is that your expansion of Route 302 and your enhancement to bring development to, and basically reshape what Route 302 looked like and what development was going to look like in Bridgton, never got piggybacked on that TIF on 2008. And it was right in the heart of the TIF. We come in, hey, why? You got all this TIF money, okay? Why didn't we expand or amend our TIF to include this future development? Okay, so we don't know why, state doesn't know why, it's a moot point now. We've identified it, I'm here to talk to you about what we're gonna do, how we're gonna do it, and really kind of, and to get this, we've got the state's endorsement. I'm not saying, that's unfair to speak for the state, but we've had a lot of conversations with the state.
Yes.
And they endorsed economic development, so I fully expect the cooperation from the state to support this amendment that we're gonna have. Why it wasn't amended to begin with, I don't know. Okay.
So can I
go
ask a
ahead.
question? I'm sorry. So does that mean that we did not use any of the TIF monies for these projects that we did?
You were using TIF monies for the projects that you said you would use it for.
Mm-hmm.
What you're not using TIF money for is to support the debt service of $24 million that I'm gonna focus on here in a little bit, and other eligible project costs. You didn't go back and say, hey, state, we're gonna do a $30 million couple of phase investment into our town, and maybe some future TIF growth, some other development within our town. We want to expand our TIF district. We want to amend our TIF district to include this expansion. Okay, that never happened.
I think the key word, Maureen, is amend.
Oh, okay.
And I
Yeah.
have driven people crazy, some people in this room, by always asking why things aren't done.
Yeah,
And there is no point, I guess I've been convinced, there's no point in pursuing that question any longer because the people that were supposedly going to pursue this aren't here.
Right.
And I get frustrated with that
Yeah.
because now we're all sitting here trying to work it through to go follow
Yeah.
this, and it's been a lot
Yeah.
of time and
And this-
effort by Ron and his staff.
this is a busy town, okay? And listen, I am sure back in 2008 that you were going through a comprehensive plan change as well.
Yeah,
You're
they were.
reshaping your town, right? I am sure that there was a traffic study, I've seen it all, okay? There was a traffic study done that supports the busyness of Route 302
Yeah, yeah.
as it runs through Bridgton. I am sure there was a study done that you need affordable housing in this town as well. Why? Because I've seen it all, okay? And then I'm sure that there were conversations that led to 2 or 3 phase, $30 million infrastructure expansion in the town of Bridgton, but it never piggybacked on the original 2008 TIF. So there's some options that we had, to say whether or not the original intent might have included that or not. I don't know. I think it's a stretch, to say it would. So what's the best thing to do? Go in and take your blueprint and edit your blueprint to include this expansion,
That's
which
right.
is really what we're talking about.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
So, I'm just gonna try to rephrase this so I have an understanding. So we had an original TIF district, right? And then there were other development projects that happened that were not actually on that blueprint of that TIF district.
yeah,
But we could have amended it back then and included it
Correct.
in that, okay?
Correct. And
So
the-
how did we pay for it?
yeah, and through the
General fund.
defined district, through the taxpayers identified through that district, it's called you take a picture, so I'll explain to you the evolution of this, and if I lose you, this is important, okay? So back in 2008, all right, whatever that day was, we'll say July 1st, just for the sake of a date, okay? July 1st of 2008. You define your district and take a picture of it, okay? And in that district has a bunch of map, parcels, block, lot numbers to identify all the taxpayers in that on July 1st, okay? And let's just say for simple math that there's $1 million of valuation attached to those property taxpayers. You with me? That's your original assessed value of your TIF district, as you know. And then what you say is, hey, we're gonna make a significant investment in our town. Your significant investment originally was $1.9 million. That was it. Really, upon further review, it's gonna be probably more like $40 million when all is said and done. So when that original assessed value, of the picture on July 1st was that $1 million, You didn't go spend $30 million to protect July 1st. You spent $30 million so that you could go bring in future business, future development, affordable housing, expand your tax base, that needed it as well, okay? And to piggyback on your comprehensive plan that you were amending there. So that $1 million of valuation, as it grows, so let's just say today, that $1 million is $10 million. That $9 million of growth in the expansion is sheltered, is part of your TIF district, and we can use the property tax revenue of that $9 million for what we said were eligible projects. We only said originally there's only $1.9 million worth of eligible projects. Now, upon further review, that $1.9 million is $30+ million, okay? So we want to take that money every year that you are sheltering, okay, moving it in, it changes flavor. Once they pay their property tax bill, you have a statutory right now to move that valuation and the property tax revenue generated that into your TIF fund. And today, there's probably about $2 million in that TIF
Yes,
fund.
approximately,
Okay,
yes, that
okay.
we can't have access
Yeah,
to.
So it's not that you can't have
Well,
access to, okay? The problem is, you already spent your $1.9 million on eligible projects using
okay.
that. So what are you gonna use with the rest of this $2 million, okay? So we propose to take all of that increased valuation, which is called TIF valuation, and use that now to amend the TIF and say, hey, we may not have amended our TIF, but we told you we're gonna have a lot of development going on in
Yeah.
our town. Please don't penalize us for that. We just, for some reason, transition turnover at the town, never got amended. We don't know, we don't wanna dwell on it. We wanna do it now, okay? And while we do it now, we also wanna take and extend it for 5 more years, too, which is within your right to do so as well. So all within this breath, we want to take anything over and above $1 million of valuation, move it into that TIF, but say, hey, we've already spent that $1.9 million. We got $24 million worth of debt and other eligible project costs that we sure could use that money to pay for. And
Yeah,
you're not
Ron.
doing that right now.
Ron, let me ask you a question, or actually, this is also for our new members. At the TIF, there's several different type of TIFs. This particular TIF locked in that area and put the money into a TIF, instead of not doing a TIF and taking that money and putting it into the general fund.
Correct. But
So that the only advantage I can see of that particular type of TIF is that the value doesn't apply to your school
yeah.
value,
So
so
there's-
that you pay less taxes
Yeah.
to the school.
So there's a few things. Education, revenue sharing, they're big factors into that, as far as education, revenue sharing, I'm missing 2 others. But those are factored into some savings, with that particular type of TIF, okay? But there's other types of TIFs that this state offers. Affordable housing, one, I know that's a big issue, here in this town, every other town, that we do business with. And we do business with 2/3 of all the municipalities about in this state. So we know what's going on out there. Affordable housing is another big project, okay? I try not to mix affordable housing TIFs with economic development TIFs because I think that they're two distinct, TIF ranges with 2 distinct laws to go attach your districts to that are defined geographically. But the advantage here is that you're saving and sheltering money, okay, from education, other municipal cost components is what the state calls them and refers to, education being the biggest one, okay? We're not even talking about sheltering that education. We haven't sheltered the education since 2008, except for what we defined with that TIF for $1.9 million. You haven't seen any savings on that. You will now with your next municipal valuation return that you file. Why? Because once the state approves it, our $1 million now, we get to take another picture of that $1 million and exponentially with all the development that you're bringing in there, redirect those resources to other much needed things right now, and including the $580,000 of debt that you're paying every year for this expansion that you just did.
So question, so the picture we take now is the picture after we've done all that expansion?
Absolutely, we can't go retro. We can't go retro, we can
okay.
only go forward. So the
Okay.
valuation, return that you were talking about, we can't go backwards with that. We've already, we gotta play fair with the state.
Yep.
It's not retroactive. We've gotta stay within the intent of the law. We can't go back and retroactively change our valuation returns. They're based on that picture back in 2008 and what our district looked like. We're not even changing the geographical picture. What's changing is the development and the new property valuation that you're bringing into that district. That's what we're changing to use that money in addition to the 1.9 that we've already spent to pay for eligible CHIS costs. We're changing the definition of what, I'm not sure we're changing the definition of what's eligible project cost because we're expanding our TIF to say, hey, oh, by the way, these $1 million worth of eligible project costs back in 2008, they've changed now because of our expansion. It's more like $30 million of eligible project costs that are being paid for by the development with this district. If there's no development in this district, bad news, folks, okay?
Yeah,
You got no money. You got no money being generated from those incremental values of what you look like
That's
on
right.
July 1st. So we got no money to pay for this, but you do. You're getting new business every day, getting new affordable housing every day, and I think that was a piece of this TIF as well. So new things are happening here at the town, but the money that you are able to attach to this TIF is based on growth, okay? You spent $30 million to grow and change your Main Street to bring development into this town, commercial development, whatever development looks like for Route 302
Yeah.
on that corridor. That's how you're gonna pay for all of this stuff. Who would have just invested $30 million and have a whole blueprint on what their vision was to hopefully help traffic, create affordable housing, create industrial growth, here in this town, flop from a primarily residential tax base to expanding it to a better commercial tax base, by adding valuation to the town, okay? That's what this TIF does. It defines geographically that, and your investment allows people to come in and say, I want to move to Bridgton. They got the infrastructure. They may not have had it back in 2008, but they've got it for me now to put my business in there. So,
The other key thing here is it takes pressure off the general fund.
yes, yeah, we'll talk about that with
Yeah,
the
okay.
math on that.
Okay.
So,
I've read about TIFs. We actually met with someone from Paul.
GP cog.
GP cog.
Sure.
He explained it to us. I still don't get the whole thing. So where does the revenue come from for TIF? Is that from the taxes?
So watch where I go, okay? So the revenue comes from TIF based upon that property tax bill you send out.
Okay.
For every piece of property geographically within that
Okay.
TIF. So remember how I said that valuation of $1 million? So let's just keep running with that number. That $1 million of valuation generates $50,000 of property tax bills. You with me?
Yep.
When the property tax bill growth, so meaning, I'm not a property taxpayer on July 1st when you took that picture, but I just built a brand new structure and building and just brought my business there or renovated the one that I had right now to increase my property value. Now you've raised that $1 million valuation, okay? So the property tax bill that I'm getting from either renovated properties, new, which is the goal, new properties that are moving into that because of the expansion and the opportunity that you've afforded that you didn't have before this expansion. That growth in that property tax bill, I pay my property tax bill, okay? Anything over and above that $1 million of valuation or $50,000, what it would have been charged. So now my property tax bills, I'm getting $100,000, okay? Because the TIF value has increased, that $50,000 goes into that TIF fund.
Our fund.
To be used for that, separate from your general fund.
Kind of tax protected.
Yeah, special revenue
Yeah.
funds, a special purpose for this town, except this is a special purpose statutorily defined by state law.
How does it benefit the developers?
But think about it. Got a new business? Hey, I'm your man. I deal in commercial development. I just put this project up there. You want to put yours in? I got a waiting list of about 3 months. Love to do your project. You're bringing business to the developers, and you're bringing an incentive for the businesses that are moving into Bridgton. Why? Because all these businesses are popping up around me and populating Route 302. It gives more exposure to my existing business there. And with the new infrastructure upgrades, I couldn't have done what I wanted to do with my business expansion. Why? The infrastructure wasn't there back
But
in
it doesn't
2000.
give them any tax break.
It could.
So listen, it could give them a tax break, so there's another negotiated instrument, and I just don't recall the flexibility in your TIF, okay, but it's called a credit enhancement agreement, okay? And what that says is, and this is Costco, anybody been to Costco in Scarborough? I am sure Costco negotiated a credit enhancement agreement to say, we just built this infrastructure in your town, and we want property tax breaks. So for every dollar that we give the town, we believe we're bringing new people to live in your town. We believe we're bringing people to shop in your town, okay? When we put our building here, we're gonna bring you a lot of visibility and an expanded property tax base with ours, and probably people are gonna develop around our property right now for other businesses. Why? Because that's what happens with Costco. So, I forgot the question, ADD.
Yeah.
The
Credit
ta-
enhancement
ta-
agreement.
Yes,
So the
yes.
credit,
I
so
have
what
it too,
happens
so I
is,
forgot it.
when you do the credit enhancement agreement, what Costco does is says, and they'll shop, these big companies will shop and say, you got the property, what's in it for me? Okay? So for every $1 that I give you for property tax, I want 10 cents of it back to expand my future expansion. Go hire, my employees. I want an incentive to move my business to your municipality, okay? That's why you built $30 million worth of infrastructure, okay? So that you can attract some, I'm not saying don't go to put a Costco down on 302.
no.
But I'm gonna say, that's what happens is these businesses go look to the municipalities to say, I'm coming to Maine, okay? I'm gonna have a presence in Maine. Where? What can your municipality do for me in the form of a tax break? Because I know what I can do for you, okay? What can you do for me? Those are called credit enhancement agreements that are negotiated up front. So there's the incentive for the businesses to
But
come in.
it's not really connected to a TIF, it's just.
Oh, it's
that-
absolutely connected to
Okay.
it. It's connected to that property
District.
within the TIF.
Yeah,
So when I
right.
pay my property tax bill and I'm Costco and I come
Yeah.
in and say, I want 10 cents, and this is hypothetical math, but I want a percentage of my property tax bill back so I can use it to reimburse myself for all this friggin' development that I just did in your town. That's called a credit enhancement agreement. That's a huge incentive,
Okay.
huge. So,
And we have two of those that are somewhat outside, one for, three, but one for affordable housing.
Yep.
One for the Woodlands Memory Care Center, once again, to induce them to build that here for us. And then we have the Magic Lantern, which is just kind of sunsetted this
Yes.
year.
Yep.
so the states come
What
up
was
with.
the third one? I'm sorry, Woodlands,
Lantern.
Magic Lantern, and
The
Harrison.
affordable housing.
Harrison.
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 Harrison,
Okay,
apartments.
thank you, Harrison Ridge.
Yeah.
So the
perfect,
states
thank you.
come up with this vehicle and this plan to say, you know what? Okay, we need to bring growth into our state. We want to diversify our tax base. We want to economically develop our state. We want to bring in right businesses that complement our state. They created this program as an incentive for municipalities to be attractive for these businesses to come into, okay? Walmart has been the most notable one that we've worked with, as far as with our municipalities about these incentives, so, these programs. Yeah, and affordable housing, that's the wave of the future. There's a housing need, okay? There's an affordable housing need to go along with that housing need. And the state has programs, for that, that attract to a municipality, that'll attract to the developer to bring in, or the owner of that affordable housing project, so that they can expand their affordable housing business.
This is off tangent a little bit, but Carmen and I talk about this all the time, affordable housing. And I did ask these questions about a certain location that may need brownfield cleanup. And he told me that one site could be doable.
A lot of money in brownfields to clean up environmental hazards, for sure, and it sounds like, from what I know now, and I'll tell you, affordable housing, there's so many options out there for financing affordable housings for governments. It's crazy.
So this
Crazy.
is why we're seeing all those apartment buildings all over the state? Is it,
So
it's many things?
you're seeing them for different reasons. You're seeing because there's funding available. You're seeing them because that there's funding for the people that are moving in there available. You're seeing them because there's a huge need available.
Yes.
I'm not
Yeah.
putting them in a priority any way. And what you're also seeing too, we do, and and I'm saying this right now just off the top of my head, at least a half a dozen that are actively expanding their affordable housing in their municipality. And the reason why? They attach themselves to a resort. They attach themselves to a beach. They attach themselves to commercial tourist industry that's coming in, that's bringing money into this state. They're attaching themselves to an endeavor. And here's what's happening. What do you need to run a resort? You need people.
Right.
Okay, you need staff. They're going out and creating staff housing now in these resort communities
Yep.
and attaching it to their affordable housing. It's brilliant, this plan, and it becomes affordable because of all the different resources available to the governments out there to subsidize it. So not only subsidize the actual development of it, to subsidize the people that are actually moving into it too. Municipalities don't care about the people. They want the people to move into it. They care about the developers or the owners of this subsidized affordable housing so they can have a profitable business and be a good neighbor to their town and bring in people to run their resort.
Smart move.
So that's the big thing now that I've been spending a lot of my time and resources on is exactly some of those, and without getting into really any names or anything, because it's all,
No.
it's public information, but out there, how you read it, not how I deliver it. That's the biggest thing right now that I've been working with, is bringing in affordable housing, and some opportunities into what municipalities see, so.
That doesn't really sound like it's housing for people that need it, though.
No, that's,
But
so
right
hear
now,
me,
what we're
so hear me,
worried
just so I'm
about is our
clear.
wastewater.
Yeah, we're going back there, but hear me. So a resort town needs it. You just heard me say resort towns for the 6 that I'm working with right now. They need affordable housing. Why? Because they gotta bring workers there that don't normally live in that community. Those need it. Other affordable housings could be for elderly, okay? Could be for handicapped elderly. Okay, so there's many different types of affordable housing. I just gave you a scenario that the resort towns are piggybacking with some economic distress, how we get workers here, okay? When we get the workers, where they're gonna live, okay? So just giving you an example. Going back to Carmen, as example, why I'm here to talk about, for today, is the wastewater and the big expansion that you did in attaching itself to this TIF here with my presentation. So I hated to get sidetracked, but
No, go
I'm
ahead.
here,
Yeah.
I'm here to answer any questions you guys have.
Thank
So,
you.
You want to get into your numbers?
Yep. I
Nick-
can't really
Nikki's
read
got
that, but I know them all by
Well, I know
heart.
you do.
Okay, yeah, I love one.
You know them by heart. It's a lot of numbers.
All right, so here's what I tried to do, okay? I tried to really put this I always try to put myself in your chairs. I've been doing this for like 35, 40 years, okay? And I try to put myself in your chairs to say, all right, I either will or won't, or somewhere in between, lie with understanding. So it's like, okay, what's the best way to do it? Strength in numbers. I always believe numbers is shocking and tells a story. Always math tells a story. So what I did is I put the before math story and then the post-math story once we get this amendment in place, all right? So the first one you'll see on the top is just an estimation, of the longevity of this TIF through 2030, okay? And that's what you look like right now, okay? Your projects have been paid for. You got about $104,000 based upon the way that you're looking right now, that your general fund, for lack of a better word, is adding to itself every year. Okay, that's with the current math, based
Wait,
upon your
where's
TIF.
that number?
So I'm showing you the first page, you see what you're bringing in. I only put the property tax revenue there as a reference because that's what's generating the TIF piece of of this conversation. But I'm looking from the very second number up from the bottom in each column.
Gotcha.
You are
Okay.
generating, these are estimates, these are projections, you're generating, the two of them are factual, $104,000-ish each year you're adding to your general fund based upon the way you're structured right now, okay? And if you guys look at that fourth number up from the bottom with the transfers out, okay, the $1,215,000, okay? $600,000 plus is going to your sewer fund to pay for the debt service on that expansion. Every year, $580,000 if you want to get into round numbers, okay? Every year, your general fund is subsidizing that, okay? So from the property tax revenue that you're generating right now, okay, it's going into a TIF fund. There's about $2 million in there. It's already paid for its $1.9 million worth of projects. It's going to keep getting bigger, bigger, and bigger, and it's going to get even more bigger when you bring the development, when this TIF starts developing, you know, and that's the goal. Up front, they're probably not the best investment, but as you hit year 3, 5, 10, with the development that you're bringing in, now look at the math, go sideways. So not only is this a plan to generate and take advantage of a tax option to create economic development in your district, it's a plan to have a plan to spend our TIF money. And right now, $580,000 is being subsidized by your general fund, okay? Why? Because we don't see the language in your TIF that allows that TIF to pay for it. We only saw $1.9 million worth of eligible cost. Hey, Department of Economic and Community Development, we want to amend our TIF. We don't know why it didn't happen before, but we just spent $30 million to bring economic development into our town. We believe that these are eligible costs. We would like you to support our endeavor. We'd like to, now flip to the next page. Look at the math now. Look at that second number up from the bottom. Look at the, more importantly, the fourth number again up from the bottom. We'd like to redirect $580,000 of that TIF fund to subsidize that debt service that we have that our general fund subsidizing. Why? Because it's an eligible cost. We'd like to make our TIF agreement, originally designed back in 2008, more clearer. Here's our amendment. Please make it more clearer. Look at the highlights in the very top right of what that will do for the town through 2008. All estimations, but that's about as crystal clear as you can make it with the money that you just invested, $30 million plus in all this infrastructure, are going to continue to invest in. That's a pretty sobering number to me, to say, if I can redirect those resources to where they're much needed so that we can help the state with its economic development, which helps the town of Bridgton with its economic development, we're all on it. We're all in on this together. Let's go amend our TIF to make it more clear. So
I just want to share with everybody that Ron has been working with DECD, well, for years, and his contact, who I have been working with, not as much as he has, Tina Mullins, has been very instrumental in guiding me through, and, well, obviously you do this regularly with her, but it has been not only educational, but she truly believes in these things that want to help the town.
she's a champion. She's a champion for the state.
And she does an outstanding job.
Yeah, and that means she's a champion for Bridgeton.
Yeah, that's right.
So this
I
is
just
her
wanted to
job.
say that.
She gets excited. You can hear it in her voice. So, and that's a good thing.
So basically, the $100,000, which was coming out of the general fund, is going to now be
paid for by TIF funds.
TIF.
And you've got about $2 million to access. What this doesn't include is the savings from the municipal cost components like education and things where that value is sheltered, and how your math is computed right now with some of those certain municipal cost components in it. That doesn't include those savings as well. But you won't see those savings until future years, probably the last 10 years of the TIF. So, but that's additional savings to the town.
This might sound like a stupid question, but does this help the residents of Bridgeton at all, like in their tax burden?
So think about it, okay? So that's a great question, and I tried to start the conversation for that earlier on, okay? So you're a property taxpayer in Bridgeton right now. Bridgeton has a primarily, okay, residential tax base. You with me? So where your valuation is spread off, where the people that own houses in Bridgeton are paying for the municipal services that are being offered. You with me? You bring commercial growth into this town, okay? You now have spread out your tax base and the property base to that commercial side with that investment now. So the municipal services in the component of the residential bills, they should see savings in their property tax bills. Why? Because that burden and that shift of tax valuation shifts from the residential side to the commercial
side, that's
side.
right.
And that's where they see their savings, okay? They may not have seen it yet, they're gonna see it now, okay? Because we're about to shift some property tax burden to them of 500,000 over to who should be paying it in the first place is the TIF, okay? So they're about to see that savings instantly, okay? But going forward, as your valuation shifts from residential to commercial, they'll see it there too. So,
And once we've paid off a lot of our debt, which it seems like that's the primary thing to do
Yeah.
with this TIF money, is there a chance and is there an opportunity to do rebates of property taxes to our folks?
if you're asking me that question now, I think that would be a terrible idea for the town of Bridgton. I would use it for what it's for, and that's property, that's.
And economic growth.
Economic growth, okay, the state will frown on that too.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, so, yeah. Here's a
Ron,
different,
When this TIF was set up, it was set up, I guess, properly, but it was only carried on for a year.
no, it's carried on right through today.
No,
And-
I don't mean the TIF itself. I mean as far as taking the money for the infrastructure of sewerage.
Well, that's never been set up. You know, that's what we're proposing to
That
do
wasn't
right
even
now.
set up the first year.
No, it wasn't even set up into, it was talked about, never, for lack of a better word, expanded, you know, into the
Yeah.
$1.9 million. Hey, that 1.9 million is really $30 million. Never, the price tag for all your eligible projects never raised from that original $1.9 million.
Because I was on a board back then, and what we talked about was that TIF, because of the way it was set up. For infrastructure, it was set up for sewerage,
Yeah,
being infrastructure, so that the TIF money was gonna go to pay
yeah.
for
I'm
that.
sure it was discussed. I can see why it would have been discussed because of your TIF application. That $1.9 million, when you submitted that application, should have been $31.9 million. That's the problem.
Yeah.
So they only know you for your eligible projects that they approved, okay? So we talked about an expansion, we talked about affordable housing, we talked about redefining Main Street, we changed our comprehensive plan, okay? Because we knew all this metamorphosis was happening to the town of Bridgton. You never changed your eligible projects, though.
And the ceiling, the price ceiling on them.
Well, that price ceiling moves all the time. That wasn't your problem. It's being able to attach to that price ceiling to say, hey, we got $1.9 million. This $2 million, you know, in 4 years is gonna be $6 million. Hey, we'd like to spend some of that money because we just invested $30 million into infrastructure. So you wanna be able to take some of this captured value and spend it towards eligible additional project costs that never got changed in your original agreement.
And the infrastructure Ron keeps talking about was the $27 million investment in our wastewater.
Yep,
That had to happen. It wasn't something that we had a choice
Yeah.
at that point. With
Yeah.
our old wayside location, we had no choice but to
and
do
there's
this.
probably environmental issues, et cetera.
Oh, there were
Hey,
plenty, I
looking at it now,
understand.
hey, not only environmental issues, you know what? Let's just go all in and let's
Yeah.
redesign Main Street so that we can add capacity for
Yes.
economic growth. And I'm hoping that's what you meant by the sewer, you know,
I
kind of
think-
like attaching that project to your sewer fund, because that's where the debt resides in it right
Well,
now.
the fact of the matter was, we had no capacity
Yeah.
to bring
That's right.
anything.
Yeah,
We couldn't even upgrade businesses on Main
Yeah.
Street. Half these businesses that you're looking at that exist now would not have existed if we
Yeah.
had not
Okay.
so you,
done the sewer
so you
project.
fixed existing problems for the town there, many, by the sounds of things, and oh, by the way, added capacity for future growth.
Yes.
Which was the purpose of that TIF district.
But we couldn't use TIF money.
Well, you could have used TIF money, you
could
did
have,
use, you
but-
did use TIF money, you used $1.9
Yeah,
million
but-
for what
but
you said you
it's
would use it
much
for.
more than
Yeah,
that.
Yeah, but there was this growth that we're talking about to fix the problem, to enhance growth in the town. That was never, it was talked about, but your projects for the cost associated with those things was never changed.
Yep.
Now, are you talking about expanding the geographic TIF zone, or?
Oh, well, that's another conversation, I
Oh,
think,
okay.
for
We
another
had-
day.
listen,
But I know
I-
that there's been some conversation about that, and right now, I'd just like to get through this thing and
Okay, all right,
and
sorry.
redirect these resources.
Let
So
me
town,
let me just say this, this is a conversation we actually had this morning, but I've had it with Ron, and we've realized that we should focus on this particular amendment. And I think eventually, very shortly, according to him, we should consider that discussion, is what I'll say.
So what's our pathway forward here?
So the pathway forward is to do exactly what we've just done right now, okay? We've already had our conversations with the state, okay? We'd like to submit this to the state for their review, okay? So I would expect all that to happen over this month, okay? So I can't control, how long it'll take the state to review, but I think the conversations go pretty quickly. Why? Because I think we've already had many of the conversations.
Yes, we have.
So they're expecting this, is where I'm going. Unless you guys say this is a terrible idea, we don't like the math for some reason, whatever it is, we don't think this is right for Bridgton, okay? I suspect that this will be a continued, easy conversation with the state. So that's the first piece of this path forward, to get them to endorse and bless this project that we've been talking about with them for the past 4 months, okay? Next step, okay? We would like to come back and talk about, I'd like to know more about this geographical expansion so that I can say, should we just expand the geography within this amendment as well, and kind of put some language to that? Or do we need another TIF? Is it gonna be an affordable housing TIF? I don't know. I don't know enough about this next project, but I can get smart fast on that so that I can come to you in September, okay? Sometime that first week in October, and have a 25 audit in your hand to say, here's the money, here's the projections of where your TIF is as of June 30, 26, okay? We believe that there's a lot of money in there. So at that is gonna be the time to come back to another meeting sometime then with a 25 audit in hand, with this thing blessed and endorsed, so that we can have this conversation one last time, so you can take it to a public hearing and inform the public of what they're gonna do, so they can vote on it in November referendum.
Okay.
That's the
So
time
to
frame.
submit this, all you needed, do you need a vote from the Board of Selectmen?
Yes,
Just to submit?
well, I think Donnie's looking for a strong straw poll, right now, so that we can continue our conversations with the state, send this off to the state, okay? Let them say, hey, we don't understand this, we don't understand that, we're reading your original TIF, it does mention this, could you add some language there? Make all the edits to this.
I think the board would like, before you send it off, just to have something to look at.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, I think you're looking at it right
Yeah.
now.
Well, I know, I mean,
Yeah.
as far as the
But-
basics, you've
yeah.
got this is
So,
what we're talking about.
here's what I'd like to do though, okay? I would like, if, with your permission, because I'm working for you, is to send this initial draft off to the state with their endorsement, so that you guys get it back with the version that we're gonna take to a public hearing, so that you guys can talk about it amongst yourselves. This is exactly what we expected, we see the language, and based on our initial conversations, this is what the state's expecting to be voted on, so that they can approve our TIF based upon the referendum that we need to educate the public on. So we got some work to do, okay? But we go to a public hearing in October.
Yeah.
Tell them what's going on, do something similar that we did, tonight. Have a document actually there that we can say, hey, we've already had our conversations. This has been vetted with the town, with the state. Put that in hand so we have that available for our public hearing. That's what I'd like to do right now, is make this pretty, then come back to you in September,
Now-
and then hold a public hearing before the referendum.
Now, I don't say this is a complication because I'm sitting next to the town clerk, but we have to make a decision basically pretty soon, like within a week or so, to put a warrant on for a vote for this.
It has to be finalized.
In November.
at The end of the last meeting of August, that's when it has to be
So-
finalized.
Yep,
So-
we've got all the statutory language for you
Perfect.
to consider.
Okay.
Okay, that'll be
That's all I
easy, and what I hear, Ashley, your town clerk, saying is, there's a statutory time frame to get this on a referendum.
Yep.
we're ready to hit that,
Yeah.
you know, for sure. What we're trying not to do, we had actually tried to hit it sooner.
Yeah, we did.
And it was like, you know, why do we need to even hit it sooner? We're not gonna change our valuation return for this year. We just want access to it, to our TIF money here, and to expand our definition of eligible project cost. Why have a special town meeting? Okay, let's just do it on a November referendum, and that was the thought and consensus. So I can work on the language here. If you guys are in agreement, you know, to that, goes on a referendum. Goes on a referendum. And I think that this meeting kinda sets the tone for whether or not you guys endorse putting this out to
So
vote
Ron,
in November.
I don't want to single out Carmen, but she said she's in. She just said it. I don't know of how you do this officially here unless you just take a verbal
Take a consensus and.
consensus and then
To allow him to
whatever you want to do, but I fully endorse this. I keep going back to why it wasn't done before, it doesn't matter. Those people aren't here, and I don't really want to know anymore why, but we're doing the right thing now to have access for these funds and future funds, and I think you've done a great job with working with the state as well.
Yeah. Well,
This was always the expectation of the select boards that worked towards this wastewater project. And there's some very disappointed people who weren't aware, as none of us were aware,
Yeah.
that the proper amendments had not been made for whatever reason, and we're good with that. So I don't think there's any surprise among people who were involved in this project that we would go forward with this. I think the surprise and the disappointment was that it never did get put forward.
Yep.
So I am extremely confident about moving forward with this as quickly as possible so that
Yeah.
we can get relief for the general fund. We can
Yeah.
get some relief to the taxpayers. We can get some relief on
And do
this
exactly,
project.
and really, do exactly what you said you
Take
were gonna do in the
advantage of
first
the
place.
opportunity that was
Exactly.
put before us.
Exactly. These are it's not like we're going, stretching our opportunities. These are your opportunities for whatever reason, you know, we need to housekeep and make them better language, so.
So I think we could do a straw poll and
My only caveat or concern would be educating the public, obviously. I mean, because TIFs are really, it's very complicated. You know, the normal person that's shopping at these businesses have no idea what a TIF is,
Yep.
you know? I mean, I don't hardly. But, and the other thing is development. So, and that's something that people are very concerned about in this town. So having this TIF money now available to us, is that going to increase development in a faster pace?
You've already increased development. So I'm gonna go back to that question, because I heard something out of it, okay? People may be concerned, okay? I heard concern out of that. If people are concerned, I got no dog in this fight. I'm not from Bridgton. If people will be concerned, why'd they vote to allow you to borrow $24 to $25 million years ago and not use it? Okay,
That's
to
true,
its
yeah.
advantage and pay for it. So I'm going right back there. If you're gonna flip it back to people, I would have been concerned years ago when we borrowed all this money. And, wait a minute, whoa, we never housekeeping. I'd be concerned right now that we took so long to do this housekeeping.
So is this
I'll start with
money,
that.
like retrospectively going
No,
to
you
be?
can't go back
Okay,
retro.
can't go
We
back.
can't go back. But we've got access to $2 million. We want to expand our eligible project cost. We can tap into that $2 million and we'll get the state's permission. But the state will not move forward with this, and that's why I'm here today, without some kind of a consensus from this board to move this project forward, to get it on a ballot and referendum, because that's what they're gonna need to make your decision, is that referendum results to say, hey, the town has endorsed this, the town has educated the public on this, I'll come to those educational meetings, you know, for you.
Yep.
But this is part of their application amendment process, is to say, the town's for it, it's gonna, looks like some simple changes, for lack of a better word,
Yep.
you know, to some language and some project costs, eligible project costs. Yeah, town went for it. We don't see any reason why we won't approve it, because we need their approval. And that's really kind of the process of all this thing. Town meeting, hey, got it, here you go, state, here's our amendment.
Yep.
And
When
can
this
I
whole
just
thing-
respond
Go
to
ahead.
Amy too? We have a community development plan. We just approved that plan, and that plan is gonna be what drives our development,
Yeah.
I believe.
I'll look at that too, just in case they're, from the original one that was submitted.
Yes.
Whether or not we got whether or not we made any
Right, we
modifications to
just
our
approved-
community. Yeah.
approved that,
Yeah.
so
And
that
when you
would
say
be great.
community development, I want to make sure we're talking about the same thing, because this was asked of me by the state comprehensive plan.
Comprehensive
Okay.
plan, thank you,
Yeah.
yes.
Yes.
I just
More
misspoke.
importantly, the land use ordinance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so,
So
When
we
this
have
was put
those
in-
that control us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When this was put into place, as far as the sewerage and whatnot, and how it was gonna be paid for, as Carmen said, we were told that we could take the money out of the TIF because of the sewerage being infrastructure. Unfortunately, as Carmen also said, was the proper paperwork, amendments, et cetera, were not put into
Yeah.
place. Not on purpose. They
So
just
I
were
don't think
not-
there's anything malicious here,
They
so,
were just not known how to do, I guess. We'll put it that way.
yeah.
And I agree with everything you're doing. So on a straw vote, I would say yes.
And remember, this was intercepted. This only escalated to code red this past year, a year and 2 years, when you started paying that debt service. That's when it became code red for your town. So it's like, okay, we see that fast enough. Hey, there ain't no crying about the past, move forward. So let's fix what we see, so.
I
Mr.
agree
Chairman?
with it too, so I think we should move forward on it.
Yeah, I agree as well.
Yeah,
As do I, so I'd say we move forward with it.
yeah. So Donnie and I will
Yeah.
continue to have some conversations. We're gonna make this pretty for the state, put it in their hands, and then
Yeah.
we're gonna put it in your hands, you know, with a 25 audit that you'll see me hopefully in September, and Donnie and I have talked
Yeah.
about that. Colleen's not aware, but we have a Bridgton game plan too for your audit to get that current,
Don't
so we can
forget to
submit
tell
all that.
Colleen.
What's that?
Don't forget to talk to Colleen.
Yeah, right, yeah, right. Yeah, she's key, right? So anyway, so long story short, like to see you end of September,
End of
early
September.
October. So, and then public hearings, I think are much more formidable to plan, you know, as far as notice, as far as putting a thing on a referendum. I just want to make sure Ashley has all her statutory dates, you know, in order we can plan this, but I don't see any reason why. And as I said to you back
Yeah.
in July,
Yeah.
when you were like, hey, we're gonna need to put something out there fast if you want to do
Well,
this.
I did
And
say
haste,
that.
haste doesn't make waste. I'm like, there's no need to haste on this thing, no need to haste, so.
Well, we didn't agree on that. It's one of
Yeah.
the few things we don't agree on.
Yeah, your property tax bills go out probably,
They just went out.
yeah, I was just gonna say, right now, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So those property tax bills are attached to a municipal valuation return.
Yeah.
When next year's property tax bills go out, they're gonna be attached to an amended TIF agreement that'll now change those valuation numbers that the state will receive. But we got $2 million in our TIF that we'd like to tell the state, we have some much-needed intent and housekeeping,
Oh, yes.
you know, to do within our TIF district that you've already approved. Here it is, and we want to change the language to make it more ideal for everybody going forward. So
So the
two
picture-
different things.
So the picture we're taking currently is gonna be what our current valuation is?
You've already
or
taken
we're gonna
that
do-
picture, you've
Yeah,
already
that
taken
was-
that picture on July
yeah.
1st, okay?
Perfect.
So what's
Okay.
happening now is,
Okay.
anything that adds to that picture, called like incremental value,
Yeah.
that picture's going up. That's the picture I really care about right
Okay.
now, and what we can do when people pay their property tax bills, so.
I'm satisfied. I don't get a vote, but I think you have the support.
Yeah.
So you and I can talk about moving forward, and we'll keep the board informed along the way.
Sure.
Anybody else have any questions for Ron?
Well, I hope that
Chairman?
was helpful. I tried to explain a very difficult subject the best that I could, so.
You did.
No, you did a great job, and I think we're going in the right direction.
I actually believe I kinda understand a TIF.
Yeah.
So, as a new select board member, that's a good thing, so thank you for that.
Anything else you want to say?
I have nothing else.
I appreciate it.
But I would like to talk to you after you're done with Colleen, just so we can get a
Yeah,
game plan.
I'm gonna take you upstairs. They have some business, and I will we may need you in a little bit, or somebody to notarize something, real quickly, but
Thanks,
yes,
Nikki.
we can, and I don't wanna ruin your day over here in finance, but Ron told me that the 25 audit's gonna be done by late September, early October.
Yeah, we got some people
So,
assigned to you right now.
we didn't control the 24 because of other things that happened with people who weren't here, but we do control the 25, and I just heard about his timetable, so I was gonna tell you, don't worry. But it came out publicly
And
here,
the
so.
people we're giving to Bridgeton, they've sat in Colleen's chair before.
Oh.
They know about TIFs. They come from municipalities with that background, you know, and some of the other complexities that you guys have here, because you've got a lot of money in different places here. We've got the right people, you
No, I
know,
appreciate that, too.
to bring to Bridgeton, and we have a plan. So,
Thank you.
and this is important for us too, so.
Okay, well, let me bring you upstairs and then you guys do what you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you all.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, Ron.
Appreciate it, Ron. Okay, just let me, go ahead.
Nikki, do you need time to set that up with him?
It's already set up, I'm just waiting for him to join, he's not on yet.
Okay, why don't we take a quick 5-minute break,
Thank you.
and we'll reconvene
I'm
at
still a little
10
foggy
a.m.
on
I'm sure that's when he was
thing.
expecting to be on it.
Yeah.
right?
So basically,
That's right.
it's
I mean-
protecting some value.
go to executive session for personnel matters. I need a motion to enter.
Move to go into executive session for MRS Title I, Section 405, 6A, personnel matters.
Second.
All in favor?
Do we go in the other room, or?
Yeah, we're gonna go in that
Okay.
room right there. favor? Okay.
Mr. Chair, I move to adjourn the meeting.
Well, I'm gonna go with number 5 first. Action items following executive sessions, none, and then I will take your motion.
Move to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All in favor? Meeting adjourned.
No